you could introduce a little bit yourself, introduce your company.
My name is Brendan Nichols. I'm head of purchasing for Eurostar Global Electronics in the UK, head of purchasing for Eurostar Global Electronics BV, based in the Netherlands as well. We have very strong links with Europe. We do a lot of business with you guys, both importing and exporting, but we also do business further afield, whether it be Dubai, US, Hong Kong. Predominantly we do new handsets, all manufacturers.
How you've been living and handling 2020 with the whole disruptions, and mainly on the supply chain, retail and manufacture that you actually depend a lot on.
We soon learned there's some big companies that were going to be let down by, for instance, Samsung Electronics UK or Apple UK. They were going to get let down on a lot of stock. So whereas at this time of year, we've got a system in place that we built from the ground up for mobile phone distribution. We actually can look at trends of when phones are falling in price. But last year was completely unique that because we knew there were large shortages, we went out and we actually bought 40% more stock than we would do ever at that time of year. So we went the other way. We heavily bought from Europe, from procured stock from all over, in order to meet the demand of some of the bigger companies that were struggling.
Really interesting. So the actual stocking, the way that you actually bought more stock to help you out to waive these shortages on the supply chain and the disruptions on the supply chain, yeah?
We bought a lot of stock knowing that, yes, well, if the UK is running out of stock, then eventually that will filter through to the European countries. So rather than worrying about stock falling in price, we'll actually buy stock with the confidence that we know that if stock's going to go short, it's going to go short everywhere. So Europe takes about three weeks or so to catch up in terms of doing that. But we then could set our price higher than we normally would, knowing that the market would catch up and we could actually charge more money for product.
How do you see the upcoming online business for the industry?
Everyone was at home. Myself, I've got a 2-year-old daughter running around, and I just imagine if you had screaming kids, certainly in the first lockdown in the UK, it'd be a case of, look, if you're quiet until Friday, I'll buy you a tablet, or I'll buy you a PlayStation, or I'll buy you anything, just to keep you occupied. So yeah, there's a lot of people. Obviously, I can only speak from the UK, but I know speaking to some other countries is exactly the same. There's a lot of people at home, and they were either still working, so still had some expendable cash, and they weren't going out, and they weren't, socialising, all the rest of it. So yeah, and they weren't going to shop. So certainly, the online business from our customers went up exponentially.
What kind of e-commerce solutions do you have as a company?
So as a company ourselves, we have our own brand C247 that we're looking to build within the UK. It takes a lot of money to get these things off the ground, and certainly a lot more established companies are thereabouts. I think as well in the next 12 to 24 months, you will see a lot more competition coming in every country because they realise that's where the space is. To be honest with you, the demand that we had in 2020 with our own customers that were selling online, there was no need to do anything really at that point.
Which products, in your opinion, in your experience actually, have suffered the most this 2020 and this past year?
It's fair to say, everyone went into lockdown, and that's from schools all the way up, and there was certainly a huge need for tech, whether it be laptops or mobile or tablets and this, that, and the other. We all got sent home, and Eurostar, by the way, have been absolutely fantastic with all of our stuff in terms of obviously state-of-the-art laptops and second screens and everything we could ever wanted. And I think a lot of people, a lot of companies had to do exactly the same. So certainly in the short term, we saw feature phones. These are really cheap phones. We were selling thousands and thousands of those. We saw also a lot of low-end 4G phones and also MiFi units and networking equipment, which tied in beautifully for us because we're actually an Alcatel distributor in the UK. Alcatel do the MW40V, I believe, and they were just selling, couldn't get enough of them to sell them. So there was that and a few other devices. So yeah, low-end 4G devices sold a lot. What suffered, I would say, from my own personal experience, Huawei certainly dipped.
How important is the used market for you at the minute? And what do you think of the future of new and used in Europe and worldwide?
Let's look at historically. Let's look at Cebit, for instance. It was new, used. And then it was new, used. And then I think our last one, we had a booth, it was all used. and we were the weird ones that only did new. So we saw there was definitely a change in obviously the market dynamic. But the used market, as we all know, watching this video and speaking to you, there's so many pitfalls in the used market. So, you know, there's different people's versions of grade A, there's different stocks, there's different communications with US spec stock, Japanese stock, there's marginal VAT stockers, there's everything going on. So at the moment, yeah, we are buying considerable amounts of used stock, but we are looking for only UK or EU used product, grade A plus or grade B. We're not at the moment looking for refurbished stock, no marginal VAT stock, and that's not to say that that's not something we will do. It's just at the moment with the customers that we've got, we are looking for a continuity of supply of good suppliers, because in the used market, suppliers are more important than customers.
You think that in Europe it will continue to increase at the rate that is increasing the used market right now in 2021? Yeah?
I think as long as Apple are bringing out phones at £1,000 and a lot of people are following suit, you're gonna have a used market, you know. And a lot of companies now are promoting to look after your phone, and it's a big part of, whereas before, say maybe even 4 or 5 years ago, trade-ins were just hard and, you know, not really sure what's going on, this, that and the other. But now when you go onto an Apple website, for instance, to buy a phone, they don't say, oh, here's the phone. Oh, by the way, you can get money off if you trade your phone in. They're trying to push straight away, trade your phone in. So it's in people's better interest to keep your phone in good shape, and then that'll automatically make the used market.
Brexit, as far as we can see, it's a clear disruption in the market. How is this affecting you guys, and how do you think it's going to affect UK companies in general, and the looks of the market in how in exporting from the UK?
From our point of view, it's very, very, very simple. We've been planning for Brexit. We've been planning for a no deal for probably a year before we dropped out. Yes, we dropped out with a deal, but we always knew that if we wanted to continue to export to our customers in Europe, we need to make it as simple as possible for them to do it with little disruption. So we've already set up Eurostar BV in the Netherlands. So, and we've got strong links with our logistics partners that we don't have to be based in the Netherlands at all. We're still based in the UK. All of our European customers can order from us as normal. And then the stock will go from Eurostar UK to Eurostar Netherlands. So any VAT implications or anything like that is handled between our two companies. And then the customer gets invoiced from Eurostar BV with exactly the same they were buying from any other European country. And yeah, so on the export side of things, there was a little bit of pain the first week. Because everyone, I think it's more the couriers are catching up, to be honest with you, of what's actually going on more than anything else. But yeah, certainly once the initial disruption has finished, it's sort of going smoothly on the export side of things. And import, if I'm being completely honest with you, no change. If anything, it's a little bit easier.
The UK market is a huge exporter to Europe in general in new and used phones.
The European market for handsets is so cutthroat. We're all within 5 to 10 years of each other realistically. So then it comes down to service, relationships, and everything else. So I can have the best relationship with some of my guys in France, Germany, Poland, Italy, wherever. I can have a brilliant relationship, but ultimately, if I've got a phone that's €200 and my competitor's got a phone of €205, but when they buy from me directly in the UK, they've got to pay the import VAT. Yes, they can get it back, or yes, some countries can defer, but if they've got to pay it up front, it just eats out their cash flow. And there's what's easier. So they're always going to buy from the European country at €205. And that was our biggest thing with Brexit. We knew we could import because Europe is still going to want to supply stock to the UK. The biggest pain was going to be UK exporting. So we made sure we had that in place, and we've done that by setting up our European company.
Overall, all things considered, how do you see 2021 just kick-started, and how it's gonna fold?
My managing director, Pete, and Brett, who I report into, the sales and purchasing director, they've certainly got very, very ambitious plans for Eurostar. They have them for the last few years. They have for this year. And going forward for the next 3 years, we've got some very ambitious plans, and we're growing year on year. So if we could grow in the pandemic last year, there's no reason why we can't kick on with our infrastructure and our team behind us. Obviously, to do it in a safe way. And it has been a struggle. Our distribution centre has obviously been under COVID restrictions, and safety has been paramount. But obviously, if we start coming out of the situation, we find ourselves with vaccinations and everything else, then we can certainly kick on and do even more, I believe.